All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
We have the agenda in front of us. I talked to the sheriff this morning. We decided to postpone. Move it to next week, number 4 on the consent agenda. Need to get an MOA figured out and stuff, so. It'd be better if we just do that.
Yep.
Anybody else have any additions or corrections or?
Taking 4 out.
Yep.
Or with that information, I move to approve the agenda with the adjustment of number 4 consent.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those approved signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we'll move on to board meeting minutes for April 2nd. Everybody's had a chance to review those. Is there any additions or corrections to those?
Not that I saw, I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Yeah, minutes approved. Work group session minutes, April 9th, 2024. Everybody looked at those, any additions or corrections? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Minutes approved. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to make a public comment? If not, we'll move on to. There is no appointments, so. Consent agenda. Any questions on the consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve with, of course, number 4 being pulled?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, minus number 4.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda approved. Moving on to action item number 1, consider accepting donations to the Extension Testamers Farm Safety Day for a total of $2,075. Is this additional one, Allison, than we had last time?
Yep.
Do we have any idea who?
It wasn't attached.
It did.
We could ask her.
It'd be nice,
Jennifer
it'd be nice to know, just to give them credit, because it's a good program, and it's nice that businesses and individuals donate to this. So,
Yeah, I think she might have just accidentally forgot to attach. She said the attached, but it wasn't there.
it's
I'll
from,
just remind her.
from Jennifer.
I'll make a motion to accept the donation.
Motion's been made and seconded, or wait, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? I just want to point out that this is a helpful to the program to help pay for the costs of the putting on this farm safety days, and it's well attended by all the schools, so it's a good deal. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Number 2. Consider approving a 23 feedlot program annual report, fiscal report. Amelia.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Um, so I'm just here again to, kind of review the annual report and financial reports for the feedlot program. As you'll see, we've kind of been talking the last couple of years that our numbers had dropped a little bit, but it hadn't actually been reflected in our 7% minimum inspection rate up until this year. So, our total number of inspections, minimum number of inspections required just dropped this year by 4, I think. As far as kind of the work we did this year, if you recall, we contracted with Winona County to fill in during medical leave up there, so I did some work there for about 3 months. And that none of that is reflected in this report. This is strictly Houston County work. But then within the county, we had one permit for manure storage, and they were actually able to complete that. It started late summer, and they were able to get that done last fall. And we did start another permit, but that actually didn't get issued until this spring. Looking ahead, the next big thing for us will be kind of tackling registrations again. The end of that 4-year cycle will be December of 2025. And so that'll be something that we'll be working on pretty much as soon as I can get it started until.
So your 4-year cycle is all of them at one time?
Yeah,
It's not broken down over each year?
well, I did, the last time around, I did, the county split into 4 kind of townships. And, so I did a group of them every 6 months over the last 2 years of that 4-year cycle. And so that's what I was gonna do this year. I'm a little behind. I should have started that, late last year, early this year. And so hopefully we can kind of get that going and get caught up then now that we have our admin position.
Thank you.
You're referring to the inspections.
That's for registrations.
Okay.
Inspections are done on a yearly basis.
Right, so you're required to re-register everybody?
Every 4 years, yeah.
Really? So that's how the numbers change?
Yeah, and they just give you, it has to be done within that 4-year cycle. So every county handles it different. Some do it annually. It used to be that they did it just all at once, which gets to be a lot of paperwork all at one time. So last time it seemed to work pretty well in splitting it up into a quarter of the county and doing it kind of on a 6-month basis. And then you always have a few that you're trying to catch up that you're kind of chasing down registrations for anyway. So, and then you kind of get those there in at the end. But that was kind of my plan to move forward this time around too. And then with losing our admin person there last summer, I got a little behind on.
Did I hear correctly that the number of feedlots has increased slightly or something? Did I misread that?
After the last registration cycle, we had seen a little bit of a drop. It was enough to equate to losing 4 in our 7% minimum. I think it went from like 350 down to just above 300. I don't have that old number with me though. But that was, that took place a couple years ago.
So the drop in feedlots, is that active feedlots that have ceased, or is that feedlots that weren't active in the first place and they just came off the?
We're seeing some that are retiring and there's just not somebody taking it over. Or they dropped enough where they aren't required to register anymore.
The registered ones, what's the cutoff?
It's 50 annual units, except for in shoreline, it's down to 10.
I always thought that those were good forever. Isn't that? Once you're registered, that's good for life, isn't it?
It is. I guess I don't like to actually take anybody off unless I have
So then,
their request in writing to do so, but there's some language in the ordinance says if it hasn't been active for 5 years, we need to kind of look at it as new again. Anyway, really the registration, so it goes out and it auto populates everything that they've put in before. So all they're doing is kind of, it's more or less a survey. And so they're just putting in numbers if anything has changed. And so that's where too, if they increase their operation and they didn't really talk to us, it might be somebody who's increased over 300 animal units, they should be going through a CUP at that point. Or if there's neighboring dwellings, there's an chance that maybe it would need a feedlot variance, so it's kind of an opportunity to catch that. As well.
So a person that has a 50 unit registration. And they're no longer active for 5 years, they can lose that.
I don't like to close it unless they requested it be
So
closed.
the ones that have dropped off are the ones that have requested or.
Yeah, and so we
I
do have a few out there that are registered for 0 animal use.
But they're still registered.
Yeah, and so those make it hard,
Okay.
because then if we
0.
have dwellings,
So less than 50? Or 50 and it's 50 and less,
they
right?
can still maintain a
I
registration.
thought it was 50 or more. I mean.
That's when it's required, but they can still maintain a registration for under that number if they want.
Really?
So they can always activate again if they want to,
Yeah.
up to 50.
Well, then,
As long as they're
then
registered.
if they want to activate it again, then they have to abide by setbacks.
Yeah,
See, and if
there's
people have
zoning to
built
take into account too.
Right, yeah. So if people have built close to it and gotten a variance to build closer to it, and then they let their feedlot go or it gets taken off, they can't get back in.
But if they stay registered, even at 0,
They're registered.
they, in the future.
If they stay,
they can
that,
come
that's
back.
why I wanted to know if it's
Yeah.
automatic or if it has to be done by request.
Right, okay.
So
Thank you.
Then you got a lot of people that put little calves on grass, 5, 7 acre patches of grass, and you got people that got
Yep.
cattle on there,
Yep.
There's
That-
a
yeah.
lot of different things.
That's a good point. I think there were a couple that went to more pasture rotation operations rather than feedlots. They feed out on the fields all winter, and so they did stop their feedlot registration because that was their operation, so has changed.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the feedlot program. And the report.
motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Amelia.
Thank you.
All right, number 4, consider approving MinDOT's amendment number 1 requesting time
Number
extension.
3.
I'm sorry, I did skip, sorry. Consider accepting the low bid from Bluff Country Brine for liquid chloride.
Yeah, so the first item on the agenda here for me, item number 3 would be consider accepting the low bid for Bluff Country Brine. So they were $1.28 per gallon delivered to Caledonia, or $1.48 per gallon delivered and applied to the roadways. For our county work, we always deliver to us, or as long as our water truck is up, we deliver it to us and then we apply it. The other 2 bidders were another 15-20% higher than Bluff Country Brine. Now, out of that, the dollar amount of the estimate is $71,680. 42% of that is the county, so it's $30,125 is county chloride, and the rest of that chloride is be paid for and used by townships and cities.
Volume wise, this is the same volume that we got last year.
It is a little bit more, as I did compute in there to up our application rate. We've kind of dropped it down, a little bit in the last couple of years, and we just need to get that quantity back up. It's just not, road's getting dusty a lot quicker because there's no residual chloride left in the roadway, or very little left. So we did up the quantity, I believe, 25%.
You can put more on.
Applied a little bit.
Is it last summer when it was dry? You don't think that?
Well, it's been, the last couple of years, it's been less. So like the township systems last year got it applied by Bluff Country Brine applied it. So they did apply it to the township systems at the heavier rate last year. It's just our county systems applied later. So it was definitely a dry year last year that did have some effect. But we noticed it the year prior to that we were getting dustier. not working as good roadways and stuff, and we were getting comments the last couple of years on how dusty it is. We've been hearing from the suppliers, we're applying it too late, and we really are cut down because of budget purposes. If you wanted to be applied later again, we absolutely could. Just reduce that quantity and under on the bid estimate.
So,
Go ahead, Greg.
so when do you apply this? You gonna apply it in June or right now, or what's the plan? I mean,
Plan to start getting out there in the next couple weeks, start, probably that second week in May.
why, how come you wouldn't wait till like the 1st of June so we can stretch it longer into August and September?
Yeah, it's one of those things where we can hold off and wait a little bit later, and then we get more complaints about the dust in the spring, or do we want to apply it earlier and get complaints about the dust in the fall?
That's,
You know,
it's too
it's-
dry, we don't get more rains, that's the problem.
We can go both ways. We've done it both ways. Usually we start getting complaints around that first week in May. We don't get that chloride out there, so that's when we start doing it. Definitely gets dustier later on in the fall.
Well, that's why they're bitching it don't last, because if you put it on too early and it runs out, I used to put it on and it was the same way. By August, it was done. Because of the traffic.
And the rain helps activate it.
Yeah, I mean,
It
like you
doesn't
said,
rain and then it doesn't work, but it does while it works, but that's good.
yeah,
Are we applying it ourselves this year? Or are we gonna, you got a rig set up or what?
Yep, our truck should be back up and going. Hopefully tomorrow.
Different truck or same truck?
It's a different truck,
Okay,
so same.
so
same
you're
team.
gonna do the townships too then, or the townships are gonna
So-
hire the?
I believe there's a couple townships that are working with Bluff Country Brine directly, that they're gonna hire through them and apply, and then a lot of the other ones will be going through the county.
So those two that they're not in here?
No,
Okay,
did Wilmington contact you?
I can't remember who's. So the numbers all go back, they always contact Sheila.
Cause I know there was a company in at their annual meeting. I don't know if they went with you guys or them. They were a lot cheaper, but I think Black Hammer is gonna maybe go to them too.
that's what they wanna do, that's their choice.
Yep. This is a necessary product that we need.
No,
This is the product that I recommend for dust control. So there's a SAP product, there's magnesium chloride instead of calcium chloride. So there's other products out there. Some of them are a little bit cheaper. They all have their advantages and disadvantages. And this is the one that lasts a little bit longer, so you can get by with one application. Some of the other ones, they don't last quite as long. Better to use it 2 applications. So for the cost benefit, this is the one that I would recommend.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
I'll move to approve.
Motion's been made. Is there a second? Is there a second for a low bid for Bluff Country Brine?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
right,
All right. Number 4, consider approving MinDOT's amendment number 1, requesting a time extension regarding counties 3 and 26 intersection.
Yeah, so this is an agreement that Houston County approved. It was in place since the spring of last year. The original agreement had an expiration date of December 31st of 2023. And due to a variety of factors, ultimately the work was not, the planning effort was not completed by the end of the year. So this has been sitting hold, waiting for the new new work order amendment to be put into place. So got the paperwork prepared here from MinDOT, so now we need to have the county approve it, then the state will approve it. Essentially, what this does is it keeps the dollar amount the same for the agreement, changes the end date to be pushed back to December 31st, 2025. So that way, no matter how long it takes to go through this process with the planning of what's going to happen at the intersection, I recommended for that intersection. We don't need to come back to change the end date again. The other change in here deals with the reimbursable rates for if I remember right, it is the meals that changed. Yeah, that's the only one that really changes the meals and the lodging that we utilized. So if someone's traveling for work coming out of the area, would increase that meal reimbursement rate we'd have to pay. Doesn't change the total number that would reimburse for. It's just the rate for that. And most of the meetings are held over Zoom, so they're not doing the traveling with the lodging and meal reimbursement anymore.
Minor changes to take care of the delays in the process. Move to accept.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? So this is like what we talked about at their workshop discussion. So nothing's changed since then. Right?
So this is
Just the extension for,
this just changing the timing of.
okay,
It's because they haven't gotten around to it, or they can't figure out what to do.
So initially, well, some of it is both. So we looked at 5 options. Now it's been narrowed down to 3. They all have their plus and minuses. The city's kind of had their concerns that have been put out there and addressed. A lot of the delay initially ended up being getting feedback from the state of what they wanted to see, and then getting times when we can get enough of the different individuals that state that want to participate to attend that meeting and to go back and make plan changes and stuff. And then since the beginning of the year, everything is just on hold. So the state does not allow you to do any work when that agreement expires. You put the project aside and just wait. So there's been no work that's been done on this since late December.
there's a new person now too.
From the state.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, there's different people involved, but a lot of the same people it's a lot of the same people.
Depends on which project you're talking about. Caledonia,
Yeah,
one's got a new guy
yeah,
and
so-
stuff.
Yeah, so the one so this is the Burnsville project. So this was, Craig Lenz and other ones on their planning side that have been involved. So there's, I think that initial meeting with the state had over a dozen people on it. Most meetings, we've had about 6 people from it.
Okay. Well, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, number 5, discuss increase in state aid maintenance funding and aggregate surface.
Yeah, so had a couple meetings here with the board. They've talked about potentially using some of our additional state aid maintenance money on doing some aggregate surfacing on roadways. So looking at within the packets middle, I had a budget adjustment sheet. So kind of went through and looked at where our revenues are for the year and expenditures on the primary impacts to the county levy. Our regular maintenance funds, so that's the maintenance funds that comes into maintain all the rural roadways along with the city of La Crescent, Arkansas within the city of La Crescent. That went up $257,126.48. Our municipal money went up as well by about $12,500 roughly. But if we looked at what we spent in 2024, we actually spent 28,000 less than the amount of money that was allocated to us. So that unspent money essentially transfers from the municipal maintenance into the construction site. So we didn't spend it on maintaining those municipal roadways, but when we go to repave some of the roadways like we'll be doing in Houston and Caledonia in the next few years, that money be spent there within the municipalities. They're still being spent within the municipalities. We're just not seeing them on the maintenance site. So what my recommendation is that we look at the municipal maintenance and we figure that we're going to spend the same amount in 2024 as what we spent in 23. So we don't actually increase our budget for the additional money. We actually reduce it. Figure that we're only going to spend what we spent in 2023. So that would be a budget adjustment to reduce the revenue on the municipal maintenance by $27,422 for the net increase of revenues of $229,704.48. And then when I look at the expenditure side, the county board did approve an additional $75,000 for seal coating. Looking at all of our numbers, how the bids came in, we look like that $75,000 that was approved by the board for seal coating will not be needed to be used for seal coating, and our overall county projects budget should be roughly $15,000 under our original budget. Now that's assuming that we don't have any overruns within the construction projects. There's a decent chance that some of them are going to go a little bit over, some are going to go a little bit under. So we'll be really close on the construction side for expenditure. Road supplies, same thing. Our numbers have come in so far. We're $4,273 under that $800,000 budget. So we're pretty much right on the road supply side. Then we went over on equipment purchases due to some price increases and the forestry and attachment that was approved by the board. So a total of expenditures over the budget amount by $50,307.45. And if you net out then the revenue increase and the expenditure increase, we have a net unallocated allotment balance of $179,397.03. So if we do not put that toward aggregate or some other type of project that would go into the fund balance, to help cover some of the original budgeted fund balance usage, or we could spend it on something else throughout the year. And then I can't remember if I submitted, I think I might have submitted a list of roadways, what we put on rock for each of the county gravel roadways over the last 10 years. So most of the roadways have seen rock applied about 5 times or 6 times. We usually apply about every other year to the roadways. On average, when we apply rock to a roadway for surfacing, we're spending about $6,000 per mile. That was based on 2023 prices. So if we wanted to spend some money on roadways at the same application rate as last time, like if we did the 2 roadways that have been brought up previously, County 5, if you did the entire length of County 5 at $6,000 per mile, that'll about $80,000 worth of rock on County 5. If we did the same amount on County 20, that'd be about $40,000 on County 20. So those 2 roadways alone would be $120,000. If we wanted to do that maintenance truck on those roadways, we can pick other roads. We could, increase that amount. We can reduce it depending on what the county board wants.
Well, I know 5 needs it, and 20, there might be something worse. I don't know. 20 too.
Yeah, our
If
recommendation.
we're gonna seal coat, we gotta start getting rock on ahead of time, so we don't have so much on.
If I was gonna make recommendations on roadways, 5 is probably the road that needs it the most. County 20 is the second most. And then number 3 would be County 28. That has a lot of heavy farm traffic that goes across that roadway. And then County 32, which has Gangler Quarry on it. So we have quite a bit of truck traffic on that roadway. So those would be my top 4 roadways.
Is that Bruni?
Milestone.
We're gonna put
Well,
this.
they should put the rock on.
It's
They
a,
should.
it's a
No,
public,
I'm serious.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the old days, that's what they used to do for the townships. They would just put some gravel down just so they had nicer roads for their trucks.
It's a public roadway we can't require.
Those days are gone.
What happened to them days? You used to give us money, like block a road if you used it. What happened to those days?
They do charge us less.
Well, that's good.
You know, when we bid it out by roadways, we do get a better price on the roadways close to the quarries. They charge us less. They don't have the trucking cost to put it there, but yeah. We can't force them to donate rock to us.
I just know that by my place, Township Road was got to be the best road because of the quarry that they were using it out of all the time. And they'd always put rock down. So it improved it. Well, it looks like this is a good deal to get some rock on, Greg.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think 28, you can maybe skip that one. I drive that a lot. That's
No.
pretty good. Huh? Well, if you want,
That's my district, Greg. I get phone
oh,
calls.
28 in Wilmington.
Up 28.
Oh, 28, you said?
Yeah,
Oh,
Wilmington.
okay, I thought you said,
That road's pretty solid. I mean, you could maybe, if you got anything worse, you might want to go with it.
Yeah, and then what I would, depending on what the dollar amount that the board would like to do. Or the quantity of the roadways and stuff. If we're under 175,000, then we can quote it out rather than bid it out, so we can get the numbers back quicker. If we can get contracts in place, we don't get pushed back too far into the season. My proposal or recommendation would be that we have do it as we normally bid out maintenance rock. That we'll have the contractor supply the rock, haul it out to the roadway, and then we blade it and spread it out like how we normally do. We just don't have our own staff availability to do the hauling this year. If we did that, we'd have to pull all of our staff off and do culvert replacements and other road work on the shouldering on County 2 and stuff. So, and then the third caveat as far as using staff to help out is that Crooked Creek Township approached, mentioned this before today. So they have separated ways with their previous road maintenance operator. And they have 26 miles of gravel roadway that they currently do not have anyone to maintain their roadways. So they were going to talk about it, I believe, at tonight's meeting about how they're going to maintain their roadways. They have asked me if the county would be willing to help out do some maintenance stuff on their roadways. Staff wise, we are down one staff person and it'll be very difficult for us to help them out, but I don't want to leave a township high and dry without having someone to help maintain their roadways. So I would like to say that if they need some assistance, we can maybe get out there and blade the roadways once or twice, over the next few months, so they can have a little bit of time to find someone. But we definitely aren't geared up to help maintain 26 miles of township roadway at this time. So we might be looking at assisting the township some. They're gonna get back to me if they want us to help them out or not.
There's a young Jennings out here that's just started up. He's doing Mayville. I should talk to him.
Yeah, I don't
He
know.
might be interested.
I have no idea who they've all talked to and stuff, but they're definitely looking at other options.
Well,
besides-
I don't think they even know about this guy. He's just took on Mayville this spring and he's young and he's doing a pretty good job from what I hear, so. Maybe somebody that they should check into.
does he have his own?
Got a maintainer, he's got a big excavator, he's got a lot of good equipment, bulldozers.
What was his first name?
I think it's Noah Jennings, but I'm not positive. It would be Jim Jennings' grandson,
I could mention that to them.
because he's looking for a little more work. 26 miles would be nice.
Yeah, that's a lot of little.
Well, we got 40 in our township, so.
So two questions. With regard to the additional rock, I think we all agree that we need the additional rock. That's coming out of the 179,000 that you talked about. But are you suggesting we spend the whole 179 or kind of limit it to 150 so there's a little buffer still available?
You're saying 125.
Yeah, well, if we're under 175, then we can quote it out so we can get the numbers back.
Right.
correctly. Whatever the quantity or the dollar amount that the board wants to go with, we will make sure that is our limit for applying rock. We won't apply over that quantity. We'll adjust as needed to stay within budgets. So we're not gonna overrun whatever quantity is determined here. It's just, does the board want to have some of that money toward fund balance to help cover some of those overages that, or some of the budget stuff in this last year, or do you want to utilize the majority of it? And then love.
I'm just saying that we've got 179 that we're not, that's included but not yet anticipated to be spent. It'd be nice to have some reserve for other overages that might come up this year.
Yeah. For the other overages, it won't surprise me if we don't have the other overages at 20,000 or something. There's other budget items that we have potential to be a little bit over on, a little bit under on, and I think we're should be pretty solid to cover those overages, but it's still only April. There's a lot of year left, so.
So what would be wrong with doing 150,000?
That's what I was gonna say.
That's what I thought.
Not the whole,
250 and that way if we need to lose some other place, we can use it.
we've got some flexibility.
The
Yeah, so-
original budget was 109,768 on fund balance usage for balance. For road and bridge.
That's what we use to balance road and bridge out of fund.
So the 6,000 per mile that you stated, how many inches is that? Gravel.
It's pretty minimal.
Really?
Less than 2, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Those are
Can
20-foot
you-
road.
you even get class 5 out of an inch intake there like that?
Well, they apply that rock, they're just dropping on the center of the roadway, and then we
You
blade
gotta blade it,
we
yeah.
blade it in and stuff, so they're dropping on the road at a thicker amount, and then we're spreading it out, so.
So you
Put down.
stake that then, or?
We do essentially, yeah, we put a paint mark on the roadway, your truck's gonna, your load's gonna go from here to here. Yep, you just walk up the roadway with a wheel, tape measure and stuff, and we just mark this where your load's gonna be dropped.
They set their gates accordingly.
They know how much to open the gate, how long it goes. They've done this for
Can I ask
30
one more
years.
question? So Brian, when I look at this chart that you show for all the different county highways, the average numbers per day and the road mileage and the tons per mile since 2013. So it says 1,987.73 tons per mile. Is that annual average or is
So
that?
that is the total over 10 years. So the annual average would be 10th of that, so.
So the annual average is 109, just using a 5A, 198 per mile on the average year, 199.
Yep.
And you're talking 6,000 tons per mile.
No, I said $6,000 per
$6,000,
mile.
okay.
That's,
Yeah.
I was gonna say that.
That's a lot,
Yeah.
right.
All right, now I'm on the right.
Now we're talking.
$6,000 a mile. And we used to put on.
That's 6,000 tons. Well, I just wanted to understand. Thank you.
So how many miles is
63.
63? Is the 5?
yeah, so County 5 is a little over 13 miles. So I wrote some scribbles on the side of my sheet. So if we did County 5, it's about $80,000. If we did County 20, it's about 40,000. So those two combined would be about 120,000 at the normal application rate. Now we could apply it heavier on those roadways if we want. If you start getting into County 28, that's another 23,000. County 32 would be 13,000 at the normal application rate.
I think don't you think we should put a little more on
Yeah.
5 and 20
Yeah.
and then call that good?
I think let's do them
Inches.
2 rows and put on a little extra. Do that.
And
Everything.
the sooner the better too.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
like,
can't be waiting till August.
like May.
Is when you're gonna do that?
It'll be quick for us to get a proposal put together. We could probably give them 2 weeks to put their quotes together to us. It's pretty simple. Press for the quote and then come back to the board and yeah, push the contractor. Normally we have our penalty in there for the application for each. We can try to up our penalty amounts on a per day basis to really get a little bit more penalty if they don't get us the rock quicker.
Well, I mean, it's hard, I mean, the amount of rain we've been getting and it's hard to get this rock worked in. And we can't be putting it on in August because you go down 249 and it's all in the ditch. So I mean, we gotta get it on earlier so we can get it worked in. Can't be waiting until August, and if we don't get any rain, you won't be able to work nothing all in the summer.
Yeah.
It's just the way it's gonna be. We did it last year, you couldn't blade roads last summer. They were too hard.
Figure we're probably gonna get a little bit more moisture this summer than last summer, but you never know.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Any amount will be better than last year.
So this is just a discussion, so do you need to
Well, I
Well,
will
we should-
take the guidance provided today and we'll go out
come
for,
back with a,
we'll go out with
Yep.
bids and come back for approval later,
all
so.
right,
So
And
I
we-
will,
Let's do them two roads and then put it on a little heavier,
Consensus of not to exceed something.
150.
well, yeah.
Or-
Yeah.
At least let's do them two roads this year.
okay,
And put on a fair amount, maybe down the road, we're getting enough rock so we can seal coat some of these roads and then we don't have to worry about rock. We'll always have to. We'll get away with it. We gotta have ice rocks.
All right,
So we'll see if they can get this on by the first, middle of June, be perfect. Cause I know our township, we put 1st of July.
we done?
So do we need to make a motion to do this
No,
or?
no.
Okay,
Number 6, discuss various improvements to be done in conjunction with the future MinDOT projects.
yep, so when Robert Jones was here, we spoke about a few different things that potential improvements there onto MinDOT's project. So they are looking for answers from the county on a few different items. One of them is, you know, do we want to update the lights at the overhead street lights from the halides to the LED light bulbs for the 5 street lights at the intersection, overhead lights at the intersection with the signals in the crescent. The email I got back from the state is saying that the lighting that's on the trunk highway legs essentially would be covered by the state, and the state can pay for 2/3 of the other fixture upgrade, so it amounts to the county paying for 1 LED head update or upgrade in La Crescent, and the state will pick up the other 7. So the estimated cost of that is, using last year's numbers, is just under $1,000. So for $1,000, we can have those 8 lights that we're paying for the electricity on to be updated to LEDs, and then the LED bulbs are, it's gonna be a little bit more of a white light, and the drivers usually like that, lighting up this intersection is a lot better, so they want to know, does the county want to update those heads to LED lighting?
What about intersections 21?
Yeah, but I was gonna go one at a time.
Okay, that's fine.
So if that
You
works.
want to separate them or you want to do it all at
Well,
one motion?
I can do it all at one if you want. Yeah, it's just several different items.
Oh, let's just go with the first one you talked about here at the intersection. You guys feel about that for $1,000? Get LED.
Yeah, I think it's the best idea, you know, that's. You can't get any cheaper.
That's fine with me.
Is this standalone or is this gotta be tied to all the reconstruction that they're doing?
It could be standalone, but if it's standalone, then that's gonna put all those costs onto the county instead of MinDOT pitching it. So if we want MinDOT to help pay for it, we will tie it with their project. So it's a lot
Tie it
cheaper for
with
the
their
county to tie it. to their
Okay.
project.
Yeah, but tie it to their project, is their project the way La Crescent wants to see it with the 10-foot turn lane?
No.
Or is it just,
This is just for the electrical work to change out those,
nothing to do with reconstruction of the intersection?
well, it'll be the same contract. It'll be in that same contract.
Well, we don't know what that contract is.
We gave them our recommendation, correct?
Yeah, and the state will put in there what we want.
Yep.
So.
With the one light.
She in motion on that?
No, I
Okay.
don't think so, as long as we're on the same page, because in the future, we'll have an agreement with MinDOT on what the county's costs are, so. The second item then from MinDOT is the crosswalk. So when MinDOT was here, they talked about, they would like to add a crosswalk at Walnut Street across South Third Street to the south side of South Third Street, that's 96 feet across. It's only a couple hundred feet away from the lights. The county board, kind of didn't like that idea. I don't like that idea either. You already have crosswalk at the signals, you have crosswalk with the RFBs at Oak Street. That having that crosswalk 200 feet away from the lights, someone's gonna get stuck on the roadway. Yeah, so MinDOT, their ADA office is in St. Paul is okay to not put that crosswalk in with the understanding that, so currently MinDOT's trunk highway bumps out at the intersection onto the county 3 leg out to essentially where the quick trip entrance is, down where that pavement changes condition. They will not, and that will agree to not put that crosswalk in as long as they can turn that little section of roadway back to the county. So the state right away would be closer to the signals rather than being bumped way back. So it makes sense. I mean, why is the state right away going back, 150 feet from the intersection, or 200 feet, whatever it is. So it kind of makes sense to turn it back to the county. We're plowing some of that anyway and turning around. So they would agree to leave that crosswalk out if the county's going to agree to take over some of that right away and then we maintain that road. So if we don't agree, they will keep that right away. They'll keep pushing to turn it back to the county eventually, but they'll keep that right away and they will add that crosswalk.
But if their favorite thing, roundabouts, becomes a big issue at that intersection, they're giving up space where they can put it.
Must not be gonna do it.
MinDOT does not.
This administration.
Yeah, MinDOT does not have a plan to put a roundabout there at this point. They don't think that's the right solution at that intersection, so they would rather give up that right.
So we're doing on 61, but it doesn't work out.
All right,
So the plan, though. I know what McCrescent is proposing. Do we know what the actual plan is yet?
What MinDOT wants to do is just essentially do an overlay, just doing ADA improvements, mill off 1.5 or 2 inches of pavement and repave, resurface, and that's pretty much it as far as what MinDOT wants to do. They have agreed to do some more stuff that La Crescent wants geared toward ADA improvements. So putting in the RFBs, the flashing beacons at going across the trunk highway by North 2nd Street along the highway. Yeah, by Bowers, yeah. Putting in yes.
What?
So that is gonna happen.
But that's just the beacons, you push the button, it's flash for traffic,
Yes.
like we got out here by the high school.
Yep. Yeah, so that's gonna go in. They're looking at widening out some, reduce some other sidewalk stuff where they're on the southeast quadrant of the intersection of the lights. There's a sidewalk that loops around. Gonna widen that sidewalk out to, I believe, 10 foot. It might be 8 foot. They're gonna make those wider. That's all being done. I mean, that's agreeing to because it has that ADA component. So they're looking at the ADA improvements. So that is what MinDOT is looking for. Now the city of La Crescent is looking for additional changes, but at this time, as far as I'm aware, MinDOT hasn't agreed to do other type of improvements other than what we're talking about.
So what do you guys feel about the taking back more of the right of way? Is that correct? If we don't do the crosswalk, is that okay?
I think it's okay. I agree.
All right,
So question on that. 50-mile-an-hour sign. Is that the state right?
That's about where that
They
change,
can be
yes.
going 40 until you hit that 30-mile-an-hour sign. Will that 30-mile-an-hour sign then come closer to the intersection so that they're slowing them down quicker?
I will be reaching out to the state on getting that site. Yeah, it absolutely should be moved up a full block.
It should be.
It should be, but then there's also on the 16914 that describes when you into a residential area, speed limit is 30 also, so it's already kind of covered under that statute. So as soon as you get to the light, that becomes a residential area.
Is that enforceable or is it where the
Yes, it
sign
is.
where the black and white sign is? Because if you don't have a sign before that, how does the traveling public know that you gotta be at 30?
Well, you're in the residential area under the
You
safety
don't,
speed
you don't
law.
know you're in residential till you get past the quick trip.
You
Yeah,
can
there's
argue
no-
that. Yeah, if the movement of the sign will help.
Yeah, because there's no houses between the stoplights and where the sign currently exists. So,
Get the sign moved, but if you go under the main statute, it's subdivision
Well,
one.
I mean,
Really
people
important,
really
huh?
have to gun it to get.
No, what-
If the light's green, if the light's green.
Well, I suppose if it's green, yeah.
Yeah, you come through, from the east, westbound.
Just turning yellow, you're probably doing 50.
people like to race it through lights. As you come up over the knob and you see that it's green light,
Kinda
people are
squeeze the
slowing
lemon,
to 30. They want to get through the lights before they slow
Yeah.
down.
Do you
So
know, is the yellow to red a 4-second delay on that intersection?
I'm not sure how long that
I mean,
yellow
someplace
is. and-
like the light in California, I think it's a 1-second delay from yellow to red.
Yeah, I've never timed it to know exactly how long that.
I think it is a little
It-
longer.
it's-
because speed during rush hour, it's really quick. You know,
It's purposely longer so that certain people. can
Yep.
get
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a longer delay just because you're going through a big intersection. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
know the exact.
Okay, just
Size and speed determines that. Like,
Yeah.
It's
And
like
MinDOT
someone-
does all the analysis of the timing for the signals.
so if you're coming from the cross and you're going 45, I guess I do 52 there most of the time, and that green light's green. A lot of people don't slow down a lot, do you? I wouldn't, I mean, you don't want to miss that green light, so you keep her going. I'm guilty. I'm not gonna say I ain't doing it. Anyway, back to what we're talking.
I'm okay with the changing.
Yep.
third thing.
If they just bring that sidewalk right up to the stoplights from down there on their street, it'd be nice for people. Yep. They can cut across, be right behind the welcome sign, but from where the curve is, starting at middle part of 2.5 block there. Okay,
The next item then would be the lighting, intersection lighting at the intersection of. Stop and skipping over anything before we jump away from the crescent. So, yeah, so. So then the intersection then of County 7 and Trunk Highway 16. So the cost to add the intersection lights, the overhead street lights, would be roughly $25,000 per intersection. So MinDOT would not pick up the cost for that at either this location or at County 21. That'll be the county's cost to pick up, or the city if we work out an agreement with the city. So it'd be the cost would be the counties or the cities for the installation of that lighting and for all maintenance of it and paying for the electricity. So this could be tied with a MinDOT project, or it can be a standalone project. If we did a standalone, we could potentially not have the prevailing wage costs and maybe get done a little bit cheaper if we don't tie it to MinDOT projects. So thinking about this a little bit more. After we had our last meeting, Houston County, we do pay for intersection lighting at the intersection of 44 and 76. A couple miles south of Caledonia, that is in a rural area. We pay for that lighting there, we pay for the lighting at the stoplights for the electricity in La Crescent. Besides for that, within municipalities, whenever there's any street lights, those municipalities pay for the installation of anything beyond, that's above and beyond standard lighting, and then they all pay for the electricity. So the county has used state aid money in the past during reconstruction projects to help pay for the cost of the lighting install. Sometimes that install has been paid for 100% municipalities. So if we want lighting, we'd have to decide, first off, do we want to be part of the Mendes project or not? And then does the county want to pay for it, or do we want to work out an agreement with the city of Polka as far as who's responsible for what?
I can see it more necessary at County 7 and 16. The one at County 21. Basically rural, and the amount of traffic is not anything close to 7644 for example. County 7 is 7. Oh,
Yes. What's there now? There's no lights, there's no
Small,
lights. at
small
that-
light that shines on their wall. Agreed.
Yeah, there's
They
nothing
actually talked about it, not at this last month, but the month before meeting. They're trying to do something. So I would think if you went to the council and talked to people. They're looking, try and slow traffic down and start. Like up bad.
And then
It's a big safety issue there. Yeah, they get you.
the next,
From I didn't give a chance.
the next intersection to the south, and as you keep going farther to the south, they all have lights.
You get toward.
And I don't know what the, maybe as far as the agreement that Mindat and the city has, as far as does the city pay for maintenance, the electricity of those lights now, or?
No other ones, I believe the city pays for. Sure.
Well, it sounds like you should have a discussion with city council and then if we did a standalone, how much less would you think it'd be percentage wise?
I haven't priced it out. It shouldn't be any more, is, a lot of it we might be able to save $5,000. Let's not throw a number out there.
Is that two lights, one on each side, or what?
Yeah, they're telling us that whether it's one light or two, it's not gonna change the cost a whole lot, because there's all the other stuff. There's the cabinet that's gonna be needed, whether you have one or two, you're gonna be running the power over to that area.
Well, at that intersection.
It might be 5,000, it might be 23,000 if you have one light, and 27,000 if you have two lights, that. They're just saying whether it's a one or two lights, ballpark cost is 25,000.
May 7th is the next meeting. At 6.
And the state's kind of already said if the county wants to do a standalone, we just need to work out permitting with the state, and that should be a big deal.
Intersection 21. Kind of. I think I kind of would like to see one there, but. You don't know what. the actual cost, just. It'll be the same as Hope is, right?
Yeah.
That would be all ours then. Correct. I don't know, I'm just thinking maybe in the future or something, but. There's more traffic on 21 that I realize too.
Oh, and then they're gonna have that bike trail thing, they eventually coming down
Well,
through there too.
bike paths.
The other option that the county could try to do is we can try to use, pursue highway safety improvement program funding, submit for funding at the state to do intersection lighting. But we would have to base that lighting for the intersections based on the highest risk. for the intersections, so we would have to do probably a dozen different intersections to pursue lighting. And then we would have that, we might be able to get up to 80% paid for that funding for the installation. And then the county would have the ongoing electricity costs and maintenance of all those locations. So I could pursue funding like that. I don't know if we would get it or not. And it does that safety plan does not, it's a rural safety stuff. That safety plan doesn't address intersection lighting within municipalities. So I don't know that I can get funded for that stuff within POCA. But with County 21, I could try to get that lumped in with other ones, but it would increase the overall cost from 25,000 to 60, 70, 80,000, but we might get several intersections funded. More. But then again, we're paying for the ongoing electricity.
I just know that when you're coming from a crescent, you got a short right turn. Right past that bridge. So. People at night. It comes up fast, so. You're talking 21? You have to go to intersection 21, when you're coming from the crescent, turn on at 20. It's a short. Right turn lane there, get past the bridge.
On the curve there. It's a slight curve there too. They should have lengthened the deceleration lane.
Well, it's kind of hard to do with that bridge there.
So no, but that's another discussion.
I was just thinking out loud about it.
My question is, County 21 update coming to the future, is that we're talking about something happening with 21 here in the near future? Could this be attached to that?
We could definitely attach into that project. I would say if we don't want it to be attached to MnDOT's project, it's probably just best to do a standalone. Because otherwise we're tying in a project that's primarily electrical work, a different type of contractor than a paving contractor. And whenever you toss in electrical or work where it's not being done by the prime contractor, the prices start shooting. So.
Okay.
Is
I
there-
just thought if there's some state aid money coming to help with County 21 project, the bike lane and the widening and all that, if that would. And could include a lighting, but as you say,
maybe get the bike
Yeah,
trail.
sub gets to be more expensive.
Yeah, that's a different,
Is it coming for sure? Anybody?
only one, I could probably get that in with our state aid
Is that
allotment,
bike
so
trail gonna
it's
happen
our
down there?
state aid
Yeah.
construction money rather than
21?
local, so I could maybe get that in that.
We'll just look in, accepted one, see what you can.
So
We're good here.
Yeah, so I think on this one, I'll tell MnDOT that. for the
You're gonna
lighting,
visit
we're
with
gonna have
Holka,
more-
yep.
more discussion and stuff. So,
All right.
Okay.
Good enough. Thank you. Going on to item number 7, consider approving request for assistance. By providing $52,000 loan to Ryan Ruberg, owner of Green Terrace Properties LLC from EDA revolving loan fund to purchase the Sawmill Inn in Houston. Allison.
Yeah, so this one's pretty self-explanatory. Ryan wants to buy the small Sawmill Inn in Houston. It's been for sale for quite a while. And the Houston County EDA unanimously makes the recommendation for approval. It is contingent on a appraisal of the property. If the appraisal comes in lower than anticipated, we'll come back probably with a lower figure, but it is recommended for approval at the 52,000.
Yep, we had a meeting about it. We visited with him and he seems like he's a smart young man who wants to get into a project like this. So
I'll make a motion to go along with the 52,000 loan for Ryan Ruber.
motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, good deal. Number 8, consider reviewing and improving payments that Carol has sent out. This is the list here of anything over 2,000.
The list of anything over 2,000 we did have, that's.
Oh, this is the total here.
Right, Carol?
Yeah, in the packet is the amount.
Yep. Is there a motion to approve the payments?
They appear to be in order. I didn't see anything outlandish, so I moved to approve payments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Right. Moving on to discussion items, board updates. I had a water plan meeting here. The first Thursday of the month, so. Only real. Major news is that Dave Walter was there and he's going to use the remaining ARPA funds that we provided them here, not ARPA, it was actually CARES money. Was it ARPA? Maybe it was. Okay. And it's like 40-some thousand that he's gonna put towards the push-up pond program, so they got some. Try to get more done there, some bigger projects. Other than that, there wasn't. Nothing more shattering, so.
Did they talk to you about like the Pine Creek deal that Crescent's getting that $500,000? Cleaning up Pine Creek a little bit.
That's Winlack. That's what. Dewey and. You're on that, and Bob.
Yeah, but Dave. Some of them wanted to have anything to do with that.
Yeah, they're the fiscal agent, I believe.
Yep.
Yep. But that was discussed at the water.
They're doing a big pond up by Mabel now, aren't they? Or they're gonna start one
Where?
up by Newburgh.
Okay, possibly, yep.
That's where they're putting in, I don't know if it's a dam or. Frank Meyer got the bid, I know, and they'll start that next week.
That's probably a project.
Some big pipe that was, had to be reordered or something. Well, I don't know, how come, why is,
It's probably a river watershed.
probably, that's why they're combined. or what?
One plan deal, maybe. Other than that, I really don't have a lot.
Just to expound on what you were talking about, is Winlac, isn't there a big project coming above La Crescent on Pine Creek?
It'll be up in the golf course area. What's the,
That's not part of the $500,000.
yes, it is.
It is. part of it.
Yeah, that's the.
So is that strictly on the city's property where the creek runs?
It seems, yeah, from the discussion we had, the map shows that it's right there, well, kind of behind your area there and. But they got the grant, they did the application, Winlac approved it and was kind of the
Or they're starting north of the golf course? From where
northwest, yes,
From where that property is sold from Sexower to the
Mhm.
DNR?
in that area, I guess. I didn't see exact map, but they
I haven't
described
seen the
it.
exact map, but I've heard there's been some talking.
Yeah, it's gonna be to improve that, and the city was the one that. Applied
The
and
city's
promoted.
grant writer applied for that.
Yeah, so it's there,
But they got some money from Winlac for it too.
yes,
So the city applied for the areas that are in the township as well.
our involvement is basically, or Winlac's involvement was to. Provide funding for the engineering, so they get done this year, otherwise there'll be a delay. So it's just for that part.
Did they explain? I mean, I saw the news article on TV and the guy from La Crescent talking about it. And the Equalize How's this gonna reduce the equalizer?
I have no idea what they're, I know they have a lot of erosion problem.
Understand.
Yeah.
Equalizer.
Yes.
That's just coming.
Well, the golf course uses fertilizer.
Well, I know.
But I see your point, Bob, where, I mean, just, Mr. Schultz about that, they applied for grant funding for township property,
Yeah, there's a few of them who were
said about that.
Yeah. wondering what was going on.
It's right along the property line of the golf course
And north of there.
and a little bit north. They're gonna try eventually, but there's discussion that came down that what was done in New Hartford Township, they want to continue that eventually, but right now it's just that spot right where city owned golf course area, and a little bit above, it, a little bit below. From what I understand, but I didn't have a map. I just said all our part was to be involved with our Winlax involvement was to provide funding for the engineering to expedite this program, because otherwise it would have been delayed.
So like when the city of Crescent got that grant to buy a new street sweeper, they used Windlac,
Correct. As a fiscal agent to,
but then they didn't get the money from you guys. They got it from the state.
correct,
It wasn't from the Windlac fund.
correct. Basically, you know, in the grant writing part, Winlac was the agent to, and that's for clean streams, cleaner, you know. But that's how they got the street sweep.
Creative.
Yep.
Greg, you got anything?
Yeah, I went to, we had a meeting last night with the township officers. And went pretty well. They have some concerns of up in the state, they're having a lot of troubles up there. I don't know what's going on and they're trying to find out. And something to do with the township, wasn't it, Bob, that they were talking about up in the state up there that something's going on and nothing's getting done right now or something up there, according to what
They didn't have a quorum at
yeah, yeah.
one of the meetings that they had. They're trying to get more of their local township officers that are on the board to attend their meeting to avoid the quorum problems.
State Association.
Yeah, the township association at their state level. And then they talked a little bit about zoning and there was a little bit of concern that they brought forward. Of that they've had different building permits that the county's approved. And where it's a shed and it turns into a shelter. Shall pronounce that?
Shell.
And they were hoping to try and figure out some way that they get the email on and the phone call to the township representative, like when I was chairman for the township board, I would get a phone call from the person and they were supposed to describe to me what's going on, and then we brought that to the town board. And it was just a little checklist, but we as the township, when I was on it, never really had any direct conversation unless we had an issue with it, with the county zoning. They were looking for, I don't know, like another level of
They would kind of like to have the zoning contact the township official, like the one said that they sent it to our contact person and she's our secretary or clerk or whatever. Well, she gets it on the first part of the month and most meetings aren't until the end of the month. Well, she doesn't tell them about it until that meeting at the end of the month. Well, then the zoning part's already done with. So they would just like to know if they could be contacted first. And have them come to their board meetings. That's kind of what they were, right, Bob? Is
right.
that?
I don't know how feasible it would be with timeline too, but yeah, they kind of wanted the people to tell them at the board, their township board level, what they're planning on doing. So if it didn't end up being what they said, that they got to hear it first.
Another check on the
It
checklist.
used to be that way where when it was paper permits.
Yeah.
We went
Oh.
paperless, we went to online permitting only. So now, it used to be when you did paper, then they would get a sheet from the zoning office to go when they're applying for a permit, they go to the township officers and get their signature to sign off on it. So then they would know what was going on.
So it almost seems like it got streamlined too much from them, in that process where. It's done and over with before they've got
Right.
any knowledge or say
Yeah.
kind of what we heard.
Yep.
I brought this up before, so it'd be in the beginning of my being a commissioner that. We should offer paper applications as well as online, but it never got that, it got shut down, but anyway. So,
So. Can it be set up that when an application comes to the zoning?
it right
they
now,
Notify the township?
that's what they do, when it comes online, then they get an email, they send out an email, they have each township has a contact person. And they send out an email of the application being applied for. And for them, so they have a knowing what's going on, but. Problem is that it usually goes to a clerk or. Most of the time it's the clerk. There could be some individual supervisors that get up to, which would be better.
It's both ways, the way it's.
Yeah.
sounded, so I know.
Yep.
When they notify the township, if an application comes into the township. Do they have? A pre-entered site? For Hoka Township. That they can plug that into Hoka Township and it goes out automatic, or do they gotta do it each time individually? Any county zoning to notify the township.
I think it's part of their program that they utilize, and because they're supposed to check a little box, have you notified your local township representative, and then right next to it, it'll list their name and phone.
That's for the applicant.
For the applicant, that has to be tied into something, because then Martin or Amelia or whatnot would send some form of an email, because I had a username and login for the township where you could view the application. Whether or not that's being done in every township.
Right.
This could be part of it. I think they want to see somebody come.
I think it is, I think they just wanna be. There's a feeling that some of them, they wanna go back to the old. They send out a paper application. To go out and get signatures from the township supervisor.
Well, years ago, then they used to go up here and they'd get an application and they'd fill it out, and then Rick would say, you go to the township meeting, get the township to sign this, and then we go.
Yep.
It was really pretty simple,
Yeah, that got eliminated by the.
computer.
But can the requirement to go to the township meeting be reinstated? Granted, it's paperless and stuff, but can the paper say you have to go?
This is conversations we need to have with Mark.
Something to look into.
So
And
that was one of them.
That was the biggest gripe that I could see, and as far as, I asked them about the 1/40. One guy wanted to keep it at 1/40. I talked to, Larry Galsted, Yucatan would be in favor of 2/40. This would put some stipulations in. And Jim Solom, he's from Blackhammer, and they got 2-3 places they'd like to build houses for their sons, but they can't because of the 1/40. So they would be, and they would like to see it change too. And like they said, it's the person selling the land is who's gonna dictate who's building where.
We explained a little bit on what Fillmore counties and how they have that with the division throughout their county with some of their stipulations. They like that. And we went over some of the stipulations that are already in place, which they like too. They definitely wanted to see something looked into more there too.
So we're supposed to contact them as soon as we get our hearings lined up. They wanna come to all the hearings.
So that's what we're doing, we're getting hearings lined up to change it, or?
I think we need to get a hearing so we can change that, or at least vote on it.
first we have to decide amongst ourselves if we want to.
discuss that at the next workshop. Put that on the agenda.
Further discussion on that. Other than that, they got a couple. Houston County's hosting their state level association meeting. I think they were looking at a date in September.
That was August 6th, wasn't it?
Is that the August one?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then
September is the other one.
Yep.
I'm sorry. You're on.
Are they having a spring meeting?
Sound like the meeting they had last night was it, so.
Our local, but it's their turn to host the state for our section, include homestead mower and all that. They haven't set their location yet.
They were gonna
trying
check in the-
logistics, see if they had anything you held on to with credit, because they have to absorb the cost of the facility.
They were, what were they talking? Good Times and then Spring Grove, what's that place they got there? It's a little venue fest. And I don't know, I think if they do it, they should do it at the fest building, a lot better handled.
They get a $10 per person meal voucher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
What kind of rolls they're gonna buy?
yeah, it's me to figure they could have coffee and a roll. Maybe for that. So it is a little bit
Real cheap.
expensive they have. But it's their turn to host that, and they get both to do it. But I'm looking for it.
That's about all I got.
That was the only meeting I had too, so we kind of double team that.
Commissioner Burns.
This is gonna be miraculous. I've talked around with regard to the roundabout on the north side of Caledonia. There's nobody in favor of it that I've found.
Yeah.
Deer hunting rifle regulation. The Senate has in in one of their bills allowing deer hunting in all of them with rifle. House does not have it in there, so they have to get their two bills to match up. Olmsted County has already opted out of having rifles in Olmsted County for deer hunting. I don't know if we can do it. I've called up a couple times to the DNR Assistant Commissioner, but that's in charge of this, and he hasn't called me back, or secretary. So I don't know what's going on with that. Question: what's the scoop on the roof on Wildcat?
We're gonna be meeting tomorrow afternoon, and then go check on.
I should
what we
ask
need to get done.
that guy.
I
Somebody
did
said,
stop down there twice this last week and met with both Justin and her, and they did do some type of patch temporary thing, so I probably looked at it.
It's not a safety issue.
Not right now, but it's
Potential.
functional, what Justin said, but they're gonna have to look at it more. And then Justin did bring up too that they must have did some tree trimming down there with the new brush grinder. And he was a little upset over the amount of debris that got scattered everywhere along the, I'll call it the back swamp that kind of butts up to the where the creek runs underneath the road and runs south from there. So that perimeter that kind of goes around where the old road used to run. I guess there's tree debris, and I've seen the stuff he was hauling, and he had loads of, because it flings it everywhere. So he was a little concerned.
Branches and stuff.
Right.
It's like
From that grinder thing that I'm assuming that's the one that we approved here.
I don't know if it's a grinder or a saw. I don't.
Yeah,
I
whatever.
think it's a saw. It's not a grinder.
But he was not
it's,
impressed about the mess.
well, we got,
He has to mow it now. He's got to clean it.
and then we got box elders down in the ditch that got 4 to 6 foot length on them. And then they got a sharp stagger on it. You can't have that. That's
They
gotta
had
be-
a lot.
we gotta get them out of there.
But
Can't have
is
kids.
that amongst the public where it's?
Yeah, it's right next to the road. If some kid would run off the road in a bike, he'd probably get stabbed by one. Things, there's a lot of them. They gotta be cut off, flat at the ground.
Well, I thought we got a $9,000 bill from the highway department to clean that up.
They're not getting paid that 9,000 because they didn't do shit down there. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Well, when you have your meeting, you're probably.
You'll see it.
You're forewarned.
Yep.
And then the one in the year, they did talk at the township meeting too about the roundabout. It was unanimous around their table that. Absolutely.
4 to 6 weeks is when the city's public hearings.
They'll be there.
They're saving me a chair in the front row. I'm done.
You're done?
Yes, sir.
Do we?
Not much going on, this, you have a meeting tomorrow down at Wildcat to, look at situation, the roof and planning for the summer. And that, I reported on meeting with the folks at Habitat here a couple of weeks ago, so that's been done, so that's about it, pretty quiet. Got some stuff coming up on this calendar, but nothing earth shaking.
And I guess he's had a few people down there want some more rock on their pads, but I suppose you raised it. They want. So he was wondering if he could get 4 or 5 loads of rock, and so he's got a Bobcat, he can put it all in place when they bring their campers. And he can put the rock in where they want it. Then I guess when they were doing that brush hogging, they tore up a whole mess of grass and that in the back. He needs a few loads of dirt to cover that. See it?
They'll put rock where it's needed on the existing pad.
But he'd like,
Adding it here.
he wants them when they come in, he'll go with them, and if they want a little rock on here or there, put it on with the Bobcat, and everybody's happy. He said we don't need to do every one, but there's some that do need some. So if he wants to do all the work, we can just dump the rock in the pile. Couple loads of black dirt, done.
Well, yeah. Our negotiations are ongoing with the unions, so we have another one here at 11 o'clock. Yep, the 49ers. So,
You need to meet before, so.
yeah, we'll have time
Write it out.
at 11 o'clock here, so.
Are you just with the 49 or all of you?
No, we've only met with the 49ers, the jailers. And the lieutenant. That's the one, that's 3, so we got. What, 4 more to go, 3 more to go? I should mention too, I had an extension meeting here at the first of the month too. As you know, there's gonna be a new contract with the university on this extension. We haven't got any final numbers yet, but I'm afraid it's gonna be considerably more for the first year, and then the second, third year is probably as bad. So the contract, the MOU contract will be no doubt a little higher. Just like
You see a little in the prior, you said considerably, someplace in there.
well, it depends on what you want to say. It could be 15% more.
Oh.
So we're talking another 40,000, but we don't, I don't know yet. We haven't got the final numbers. Yep.
Like more.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Is there a motion? Is there any closing public comment? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.